This episode is sponsored by the Slang Self-Doubt Prayer Journal. Over the past 4 years, I have had the opportunity to help over 30 women identify, accept, and take action in the parts of their lives where they feel stuck. My heart's desire is to do that with every woman I come in contact with, but the truth is that's not realistic. So instead, I created a prayer journal that goes through that same journey. The Slang Self-Doubt Prayer Journal is designed for you to dig deep and answer questions that will pull out where you are stuck on your journey. The Slang Self-Doubt Prayer Journal consists of 6 sections of journal prompts and areas for reflections for when you want to dig a little deeper and just take your thoughts to another level. Whether it takes you 6 weeks or 6 months to complete, I promise you will not regret it. Head on over to my website at www.feliciawallace.com and select the Books tab to make your purchase. If you are ready to find your fears and slay them, go to www.feliciawallace.com, select Books, and get your copy today. You're listening to the Slang Self-Doubt Podcast with Coach Felicia, where we empower Black women to overcome their doubts, fears, and insecurities in order to give birth to their God-given purpose. Join me and sometimes some of my friends on our journey as we remind you that you are not alone. I'm Felicia Wallace, and together we will find our fears and slay them. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Slang Self-Doubt Podcast. It's your girl, Coach Felicia. Welcome to all the new and continued listeners, no matter how you found me, whether it was by way of a guest episode, solo episode, or you found me on the Googles or on social media. I just want to thank you for being here. Y'all gonna have to bear with me today. First, I'm recording this late. I have been suffering with allergies and asthma. And it has just been a struggle, but there was no way I could not come on here and just talk to you guys. And, we're talking about how self-doubt shows up in relationships. Last week we talked about friendships. And so I just want to make sure that, I'm being obedient and accountable to what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. So, I gotta do what I gotta do. If you have not subscribed to the newsletter, please make sure that you go to the website and subscribe now, because you guys miss out on new information that comes out off the break. I announced something last week in the newsletter that you guys didn't get to see. So y'all need to be paying attention. And those of y'all who are already subscribed, I'm gonna need y'all to do what it is that I asked y'all to do. Okay. But here are the announcements of this week. First and foremost, y'all, we hit 40,000 downloads. And when I tell you, I am so grateful to each and every one of you who are sharing this with your community and sharing this with your people. And for those of you all who listen faithfully every single week to every single episode, I am grateful. We have a goal of hitting 50,000 downloads by the end, excuse me, the end of this year. And I can see that happening because y'all been doing the thing. And so I'm just grateful for y'all. And so we have merch as always in the Slang Self-Doubt merch. We just out here trusting God, t-shirts and hoodies. The link is in the show notes. Journals are on sale as well. The link is in the show notes. You can get that from Amazon. Excuse me. And what I announced last week in the newsletter that I'm letting you all know is that we have a Slang Self-Doubt Society Facebook group. What that entails is a place where we are able to just take the conversation off of the airwaves, because this is, excuse me, this is just me talking to you all. And this is a way for you all to talk to me back. But it is a place where I want to encourage safe and brave conversations about self-doubt amongst other women. The group is meant to inspire, empower, and share resources to help us all slay our self-doubt. Now, this is not a group for therapy or coaching. Y'all already know I have resources for that. If you need coaching, book a call. If you need therapy, or you're looking for something like that, you can go to my resource page on my website. Listen, this breathing and messing these words up is killing me. So I'm gonna get through this so I can make this episode very short and sweet. But back to the Facebook group. So it is not a replacement for therapy or coaching. What it is really for us to be able to have just some conversations, and maybe something that I take from the episode and I put it in there and we talk about it. It may be a place where somebody wants to share that they're having self-doubt in, applying for this job, or for going out for a promotion, or maybe stepping out on faith and, stepping into full-time entrepreneurship. Like, it's so many different things that we um have self-doubt in, that we talk about a lot on this show, that I've realized that sometimes the conversation just can't be once a week on a Sunday, and it ain't even a conversation because it's just me talking to y'all. But this way you feel like you're being heard, and I can see what, sometimes it's also an encouragement for me as well, to just continue to remind me that I'm not going through this by myself. I know that I'm not going through it, but sometimes even in my own journey, it does feel like that. It can feel like a heavy weight of, dang, I have this calling on my life, and God has given me this gift and this platform to be able to share with other people what it's like to have self-doubt in so many different areas, that um it also can feel lonely, right? Because it's just you. So it still feels like it's just me, even though I know it's not, right? So this is just a way for us to be able to do that, and just, communicate, and, whatever comes from it, whatever the Lord says to do, we would do. It is a private Facebook group. You can invite other women that you feel as though may benefit from it. Of course, this is not like you got to participate. Y'all know I am not about, just everybody kind of sitting around watching what's happening, and then that's, not doing nothing, and then you go gossip and tell the other people business. No, that's not what we do here. This is really a place for people to feel like it's a sisterhood, to feel like you are a part of something. And so I invite you to join us. So just click the link in the show notes, go ahead and sign up so you can find out what's happening. So today we're talking about, or this month, we've been talking about how self-doubt shows up in our relationships. And excuse me, today I wanted to talk about how self-doubt shows up in our professional relationships. This is a big one because I think that lots of times we don't necessarily realize that it shows up in our workplace. And your workplace could be home, your workplace could be in an office space, your workplace could be at a retail place, your workspace could be at a restaurant, wherever it is that you work and you make your monies, and you are providing for your family. That is going to be your work. So you're gonna say that. Excuse me. And so for me, I didn't realize until after I left my job how much self-doubt took over how I operated in so many different ways. And even in being in entrepreneurship, how self-doubt shows up, right? So first things first, when I was working at my previous job, self-doubt showed up for me immediately when I got the position as a leader. I felt like that I wasn't qualified for it. I did not know anything about being a manager. I didn't know what that meant. When I walked into that place, most of the girls that I was, managing were either my age or older. So first thing I thought to myself is, who am I? Who am I to come into this place where you guys have been working and you have been doing this, and here I am about to tell you what to be doing. And with that, my own insecurity and walking into that place, when the girls actually saw me, and of course we laugh about it now, we have a conversation about it now, but they used to say the same thing, like, she the same age as me, how she gonna come in here and she gonna be telling us what to do? Now, first and foremost, a leader comes in many different ages, right? You don't have to be 50 and be a leader. That is not a requirement, and your age is not a requirement. So let me just say that off the break. Anybody who's in leadership position or desires to be in leadership position, your age is not a requirement. That is crazy, right? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make a difference. You either know the work or you don't. You're either able to lead or able to lead, or you can't. I know plenty of leaders who are way older than me, and child, it just no. Okay, let me just say that. I'm just gonna say that. No. Okay. And so it doesn't matter what your age is, but that held me back for a very long time. The first couple of years I felt so unqualified, and I felt so like, how is they able to do this, and but I'm able to do that? Now, granted, at the end of the day, I got the job. I was offered the job off the strength of someone else who saw me work in other areas, who felt as though that I could do the job. So I've had somebody else on here before who says that when people invite you to spaces, it will behoove you to show up because they think you deserve. And so even when I did the had the interview and everything, and when she came back to me, she was like, okay, here's the thing. The AVP basically said, because she fought for me to be there, the AVP basically said she better work out, and if she don't, you going too. So here I am now. I gotta work and I gotta worry about my job and your job. But the reality was is that I went into it with that mindset, that heaviness of feeling that way. And I know that I know now what it meant, because they were taking a chance on me, on somebody who had no leadership skills, had never but then the other part that I always be thinking to people is like, well, nobody will have any leadership skills until they become a leader. So if that's always your requirement, then that's trash too, because everybody thinks the same way. How do I become a leader, or how do I have any leadership skills unless you put me in a leadership position? Make it make sense. It don't make sense to me. But anyway, fast forward, I did the job, I showed up, I felt this pressure to overwork. And when I said overwork, my mind said overwork, but my body and my actions was enable. So I started to do the work for everybody else because of my insecurity of, am I doing this well enough? What I started to do is take stuff from people. Let me show you how to do it, because I can do it, right? Some of it is I had knowledge in, because I had been in healthcare for so long. There were certain things that I was like, oh, I already know how to do this, but I wasn't even doing my job. I was doing their jobs for them. I wasn't leading them. I wasn't managing them. What I was doing was saying, hey, I'm a team player, even though I have the position, or I have the title of manager. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get on the front line with you, and I'm going to show you that I deserve this position, because I'm going to do your job with you. Now, don't get me wrong. When you are in a leadership position, you have to have a heart of service. You have to be willing to get on the front line. I think it's a major thing in a lot. I think the important thing about leadership is having somebody who's been through every single position. So as a leader, other than being a physician, I had been in every single person's seat. I had been at the front desk. I had been I've been the person who checked in patients. I've been the person who checked out patients. I've been the person that did the referrals, did the prescriptions, answered the phone, was a medical assistant, did the vaccines, did the medications, did the ordering, was doing prior authorization. Like, I had done all of the work. So technically I was qualified for the position because I'd already done all the things. Not even technically, I was qualified for the position because I'd already done everything that they were currently doing. I had already surpassed all of that. When I was in my previous position, I was in they didn't call it a leadership position, but it basically was. It was like a supervisory position, because I'd already done all of the stuff. I was already a team lead in the position before the actual full leadership position. And so, but here I was with my own self-doubt and my insecurities saying, oh, well, the only way I can show them I deserve to be here is by working with them, working alongside them, showing them what they need to do. And what that ended up doing is that, like I said, it enabled them. They depended on me so much that I couldn't get myself out of that. And then when it came down to it, when I was thinking about getting promotions and doing other stuff, people would say to me, well, you're great at what you do. Your office does, really, really good. But what you're lacking still is leadership. And I did not understand it. I didn't understand what it was, because in my mind, I'm like, well, I am leading them. See how great we're doing. No, they're not doing the work. You're doing the work. And I'm not saying I was doing 100% of it, but whenever somebody would like fall behind, I instead of me delegating, person C to do person's A work, I would just pick up person A's work. I was like, I got it. I'll take care of it. I'll do it. So then my stuff got pushed to the back burner. So then when opportunities came up for me to be able to put myself in a position to say, hey, I want to be able to do more. Well, based on what you're doing, your office is doing well. However, when we need stuff from you, your stuff is delayed, right? Because I was self-sabotaging myself by doing their stuff. And then it put me in a position where I looked like I was late to everything. I looked like I was behind. I looked like, I didn't really have it all together. Never mind the fact that, in the midst of that, I ended up having 2 kids under the age of 2. Now, anybody who knows being a parent sometimes, when you're in the workplace, it is, I would like to hope that it has gotten better over these last years. I have no idea because I haven't been in that space in a while. But being a mom, a parent and I'm gonna say a mom. I don't know what it's like to be a dad, but being a mom in corporate America is difficult because we have little people who literally depend on us, and we have obligations to our family and to our children. And a lot of times jobs don't understand that. They don't get it. And for me, I work with a lot of single mothers. Like I was, I was a single mother at first, and all of us were single mothers in that joint. Like, okay, our kids are sick. What do we do? School is out. What do we do? You know what I mean? We in here trying to figure it out. Like, I can't take him to daycare clothes. I can't do this because blah blah blah. I was fortunate enough that my parents were watching my kids, and so that allowed me to be able to finagle some things a little bit because then they would be able to do it. But I worked with so many women that was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I need this money to be able to pay for daycare, but my kid is sick, so he can't go to daycare, and I don't have a backup, and all these different things. And it really felt like that it caused some self-doubt too, because you feel like, how can I really grow my family and be there for my family, but also show up at work, right? And so then it caused me some doubt in how I was showing up, which also made me overwork. So then what did I start doing? I started working late at night after I worked all day. I still went to work for 8 hours every day. I would stay later. I would come home, get my kids, get dinner, whatever have you, and I would open a laptop up and I would start working again. Then guess what? That continued to enable people because then my physicians knew, oh, Felicia will work after hours. So if I do this later, she'll just go ahead and do it. All of the self-doubt that came from from parenting and from being a mom put me in this space where now I'm looking at it like, oh my gosh, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing? What I don't have any boundaries. I don't have any I don't have a space where these people really respect the fact that I'm doing something. Like this is my job. This is my work. I am a parent. I do have these things to do. And it made things sometimes very difficult for me to be able to kind of sit in the space that I was in. And then I think another thing was, excuse me, another thing was as I started to grow. So once I got to the place where I was like, all right, I'm really ready to move forward in my journey and what it is that I felt like there was more that it was being called, and God was asking me to do more, and I couldn't really figure out what it was. And I've shared this with you all before, that I started asking God, show me, show me how I need to show up, because I felt like I've been working here for this long. I have proposal after proposal to ask for certain things, to get more opportunities to do certain, and at the end of the day, like, mind you, remember I told you how I started, the strength of somebody else. I outlasted all of them. People were leaving, people were being let go, and I'm still here. So I knew God was using me, because the time I was trying to apply to other places and nothing happened. Okay, the brook was dry. It was nothing. Nobody was even responding. Okay, I wasn't even getting that. Thank you for your application. Somebody will get back to you at another time. It was nothing coming. Okay, you hear me? But eventually I got to a place where I was like, I know this is not all you have for me. And I stopped focusing on what was happening around me and what I felt like I didn't have. And I started to ask God to show me what I needed to change. And some of the things that it was about me. He started to show me that I was enabling people. And I knew that it was because of my own insecurities. He started to show me that in my insecurity of being a leader, for even as long as I was, people were walking all over me. People were taking my kindness for bad. And so what I ended up having to do was show up differently. I had to first ask God, like, there's like we talked about last week, when you say talking about your friendships and like, Lord, show me who's supposed to be around me. I did the same thing. I said, Lord, show me me. Show me, show me what it is that I need to change. And a lot of it started just like some internal work, starting to come to peace with who I was and who God was calling me to be. I started serving in different areas at church. I started taking my walk with Jesus a whole lot more seriously, not just saying, oh, I'm at church and, I'm a believer. I started really, really taking it seriously. I started exercising. I started taking care of me. And when I started to do that, I started to notice that when I started saying no at work, no, I cannot do that because I have my own work to do. Yeah, people would get upset. But then eventually, you know what happened? It got done. And then I started noticing, wait a minute, if I say no, it'll still get done. How did it take me 8 years to figure out? So that's what I started doing. I started delegating and eliminating things that did not serve me in my life and in my work life to be able to say, okay, this is how I need to show up differently in this space. This is how I need to show up differently here so that I can do what it is that God is calling me to do. And so when we talk about self-doubt in our professional spaces and how it shows up in those type of relationships, everybody's journey is different. Your self-doubt can show up whereas that you allow your supervisor to treat you any old kind of way. You allow your supervisor to make you feel like you're less than, even though you're qualified. You may be in another situation where excuse me, you may be in another situation where you don't put yourself out there for promotions or put yourself out there for any type of growth or whatever have you, because you don't think you deserve it. We talk about this all the time. Self-doubt shows up in so many different ways. Do not think that it only is in one space. If you have self-doubt and the insecurity of feeling like you don't deserve something, I can guarantee that feeling of not deserving is in every single facet of your life. It is in your job. It is in your parenting. It is in your marriage. It is in your friendships. It is in your business. It is in your hobbies. It's in your health. It's in your faith. It's in your all the things that we talk about. It's in your purpose. All the things that we have been talking about. If your thing is that you do not feel like you were worthy or that you deserve, and that is how your self-doubt shows up, it's in everything. And so my encouragement to you today is figure out what that thing is and know in your job and in your space that what it is that you feel like. In my entrepreneurship journey, there's lots of times that I have felt like I don't deserve, even though God gave me this space and He told me to be here. I still struggle with feeling like I deserve to be like. I still am in my mind sometimes like, is this real? Like, am I really supposed to be here? And I'm here every day, but I still feel like I gotta work harder. I gotta do more. What more does God want me to do? And sometimes enough is enough. Like, it's enough right where you are. It's enough right where you are. Like, I need you to hear that. You are enough right where you are. That is for you. That is for me. Something that I have been telling myself lately is that I am equipped and qualified because God said so. Not because anybody else said so, but because God said so. He has already equipped me. Go, remember, Judges 6:14. Go with the strength you had. I am sending you. God already qualified you. You were qualified. You don't need anything else. We have everything that we need. Go now. You are equipped. You are qualified because God said so. And so that is the encouragement I want to leave with y'all today. As self-doubt shows up in your professional life, that you are supposed to be where you are because God called you there. And if you feel like that He is calling you to something greater, same thing. Go and ask Him, Lord, show me. What do I need to change in this space to be able to get to the next thing? Because He has you where you are because there's some things that you haven't learned. And I want to dig into that a little bit. So we'll probably do a part 2 to this next week. Excuse me, when I'm feeling a little bit better and don't feel like I'm gasping for air off this joint. If you suffer from allergies and asthma, my heart is with you because this is the pits, okay? And I think that I've just been what do you call it, spoiled over the last 2 years that it hadn't really been that bad. And now that we're back, it's like it's just not giving what it's supposed to have gave, and I'm over it. But anyway, as always, y'all, thank y'all for rocking with me. Make sure y'all grab it. We just out here trusting God hoodie, a t-shirt from the website. Get your journal. Make sure you send it, give it to a family member or a friend. Make sure that you sign up for the Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group for us to be able to take this conversation offline. If you're interested in working with me directly, go to the website, book a connection call with me today. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. Please share this episode with at least 10 people. We're trying to hit 50,000 downloads this year. If you're not already following me, you are tripping. Make sure you're following me on IG at Slants of Doubt. And until next week, see ya. All right, y'all, that's all for this week. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to share, subscribe, rate, and review. Remember to head over to Facebook and Instagram and follow me at Slaying Self-Doubt. Oh, wait, don't forget, go to my YouTube channel and watch this episode, and remember to press the subscribe button. Until next week, see ya.